Hello, thank you very much for tuning in to this week's reads. My YouTube channel is James13Wicca, in case you're seeing this video somewhere else on YouTube. For the main part of the read, I'm using Astromatrix Tarot by... I bring my blank. I don't know. Is this the one that's from... The website in the back is Astromatrix. Some of these... they come forward in different ways. I don't know if this one had a creator or if it was listed that way, but there's astromatrix.com, nope, .org. Check that out if you're interested in this deck. I want to say this is one of those that doesn't list the creator, but I could be crazy. Supportive Oracle Cards, Your Clairvoyant Oracle Cards by Belinda Grace, illustrations by Elaine Marzin. On the back is rockpoolpublishing.com, .au is an apple, use an umbrella. And of course the dice. You get the dice from the Dice Shop by Math Art Fun. I don't know if it's showing up there. Hopefully it's showing up. I'm going to try to do this. I have to get my ducks in a row to do these things differently, but for right now I'm going to keep doing them the way I was. But Alex, I explained that in other videos. 22-sided dice for the major arcana. 22 I substitute for the 0. 14-sided dice for the minor arcana. I use a 4-sided dice to choose the element. Boom. Alright, that being said, if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. This is james4astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. That being said, let's go on to your reading. Hello, Aquarius. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for when you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Aquarius? Am I like... I don't know how I ended up off balance. Oh, anyway. Aquarius. I kept getting, like, tranquil. The word tranquil just kept popping in my head. So, let's see where that goes. Tranquil. Just tranquil. Ooh, your card. Right here. You're in your power. You are definitely in your power. The question is, do you believe that you can have what you want? Tranquil. That life journey card came up before for somebody else. I don't want to like stutter on that tranquil word, but I feel like I'm stuck on it. These two cards coming together, things are coming forward to the next level. I'm seeing another card here that makes me think, even though you're in your element and you have a lot of control in this moment, maybe you're questioning if it even matters. Because I can kind of relate to this. Sometimes it's just kind of like, here we go again. It could be great, but will it be? It's kind of like, you know, I don't know. It's kind of like going to a certain restaurant. Let's do that one. And it's kind of like you're invited to this restaurant, and you're like, it's a mediocre place. And it's kind of like, I get to go there, and I get to decide what I'm going to eat, but it's mediocre. Does it matter anyway? That's kind of how this feels. And the tranquil energy is kind of like, I'm just kind of going with it, seeing where it'll go. And I feel like that's all you need to do. Because your energy is already self-propelling, is what I'm getting. I feel like you're already self-propelling your way through this. It's just kind of having that chill, kind of like, all right, here we go. Let me see where it goes. I'm going to also reiterate that whole, I got invited to dinner to a mediocre restaurant. I can choose what I want, obviously, but does it really matter? It's all going to be kind of mediocre anyway. You got success here with stress, and it's balancing out. I feel like they're trying to push forward this tranquil energy for the reason of, like, it's not about the event, it's about who is there with you. So it's kind of like shifting perception. Just shifting it a little bit. Kind of like, it's kind of like, I do this. So maybe it's a me thing. When I'm thinking about the restaurant I'm going to, it's sometimes I get very caught up like, yeah, but what am I going to get there? What's going to taste good? Blah, 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 blah. And meanwhile, I am enjoying the person's company or the people that I'm going with. It's more about the people. And it's kind of like maybe the point is it should be mediocre because there's a different reason you're actually there. And it's kind of like instead of looking at the situation like, well, the situation's going to be so-so, it's not about that. And I see them shifting, like it's kind of like shifting my perception and kind of like maybe there's something else that I can really benefit from here. Maybe there's an opportunity that it's kind of like instead of centering on what I would normally center on, maybe I'm supposed to shift and focus attention somewhere else to make that rock star moment for myself, even though I keep using that word tranquil. This is not hard for you to do, though. The situation may have worn you out, just to be fair. Okay, there's a lot. So, 4 of Swords in question, and the World card coming up on the dice. I don't see it literally on the cards, but I see it on the dice. This is like you being able to take this situation and shift it. Whatever the situation is, it may have kind of worn you down. It may have very much worn you down. I feel like, and I could be wrong, I feel like this happens to Aquarius because you can see things at a higher level. And sometimes, again, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. It can get very frustrating when you see it and you're like, that is so obvious that this is how this is going. And you're watching other people and you're trying to kind of relay the information. And even when you think you've made the point, they just keep doing what they're doing. And it's kind of like, it wears you down. I feel like it wears you down. There's moments here where you have been very effective and you have done really good things here. It's maybe just not hitting the level that it could, and maybe that's what's frustrating. Maybe that's why it's wearing you down. It's kind of like, I hope this isn't a bad analogy, but maybe it is. This is where I'm going to go with it. It's like you have a child, and you're helping a child, and they're just below passing, whatever that is. They're just below passing. And you're helping them, and you're showing them things, and you're like seeing where they could do great. And maybe this is a child that maybe they do have learning disabilities or something like that. And you've found ways to help them do this better. And you've found ways that they could do this. And you've helped them, they could be that rock star. They could hit 85, 90. They could have those grades. But they're just kind of like, oh, I did a 75. They just got just a little past making the grade, whatever that is. And you're like, but you could be so much more. And I've shown you how to do it, and I've helped you. And we've addressed the problems and why that is, but they just don't want to. They just literally don't want to. And that's it. That's just what it is. And it's frustrating, and it's kind of like it's wearing you out, kind of like you could be so much more, but you just don't want to. And you're like, I don't know how to, I've shown them how to do it, and we found ways where they can do it. They can literally work for them, but they just don't want to. They just don't want to. And that's why it's draining. And it's kind of like you've had great successes here. You've had great successes, but it's hard. And it's kind of like, all right, this is setting up to another moment for me, another moment for you can move ahead. And it's kind of like I'm setting up to go through another cycle with this. So, for example, I'm using the kid thing, so maybe you're a teacher, or maybe you deal with children in some way, or maybe it's your own kid. Or you don't have to have kids, it's just an analogy. But you know what I mean. You're setting up to go through another cycle, maybe with a different person. And you're kind of like, I'm ready to do it, but it's kind of like it's worn me down. I feel like I've put in a lot of energy and not everybody wants to. Even though I can help and I can show great strides and great things that can happen, it just doesn't always hit right. It's kind of having that tranquil energy to realize that you can, and to maybe reassess whoever you're working with to decide if they only want to get above passing, maybe that's as far as I should invest with it, with potential. I should help them get to where they want to get, and then just throw out little teasers and see if they grab, see if they bite. And if they grab and they bite, all right, then put in more of my energy to it. But if they're not grabbing on these teasers, I don't need to convince them. If they don't want to, then just accepting that they don't want to. But putting out there the potential, giving them the options, you could have that. Do you want it? You could have it. I could help you get it. But if they're not looking to grab it, kind of accepting that. because something is coming forward. And I get that there's a weird balance here about people resisting but people accepting, people resisting but people accepting. It's not about what you can do, it's what they want from you. Not in a bad way, not like in a take way, but like what you're willing to put out there that they'll actually want to grab onto. I've known, like, for some reason, I don't know why, from my father's side at least, my mom was good at math too. Math is just, I don't know why, it just clicks with a lot of people in my family, not all of them. And there's people who it doesn't click with, but they can do really well with it, especially when, somebody like me or people like me just kind of, we love it and we can show why it's exciting to us. And we can help them move forward, but they just don't like it. Doesn't mean they're not good at it, they just don't like it. And that's fine. I don't think that's a bad thing. And it's kind of like going towards this in the sense of like, all right, if you want it, what do you want from it? And finding out what do they want from it and just helping them get there. And if that's all they want, being okay, then we just let it go. But also kind of keeping an eye out for the people who do click in and kind of like, you know what, I wish I liked math. And if you can teach me how you like math, maybe I'll try. Maybe I can. And then trying to like push to help those people excel farther because if that's what they want to do. I feel like this is obvious, but for some reason it needs to be said. So hopefully this is making sense. I feel like there's more of a shifting of attitude coming in here in the sense of like, all right, I'm just going to say it the way it's coming through. Not being overly optimistic, being realistically optimistic. Which I always think of Aquarius as realistic anyway. But it's kind of like what you want for somebody because you're like, they could have this, versus like, what do they want from them for themselves and helping them get that. Because by doing that, that opens better doors from you. And I feel like for you, and I do feel that, it won't be as draining. It's kind of like reevaluating the whole situation and kind of like, what does this situation actually want? And what am I willing to give that will actually help me thrive along with what it actually wants? Versus where I'm like, it could go here. It could be a great thing. It doesn't want that for itself, whatever the situation is. So how can I marry into this in a better way to where I'm not feeling drained and I feel like, okay, I see what it wants. What do I want? Where can I link in what I want with that, which is already here? Because I'm getting like, this situation doesn't have to drain you. It's looking at it in a different way. It's stepping back and kind of realizing I have great talents, and you do. So I should be saying Aquarius. Aquarius has great talents. But it's kind of like, instead of trying to get those talents forced forward to where I'm trying to make it fit and realizing, you know what, maybe that's what I'm doing. Stepping back and going, where does it naturally fit in here? This might open up other opportunities for you too. You might have opportunities show up that you kind of like maybe were walking away from. Kind of like, I don't think that fits me, so I'm not even going to pay any attention to it. And as you reevaluate and reconnect with this in a different way, you might be like, you know what, I didn't think that had anything to do with me. I didn't think that would really work for me because of the way they do things. But you know what, maybe I can go over there. Maybe that could actually be more thriving, more exciting for me. Maybe that's something I can do. When I keep getting the word tranquil and it's still popping in my head, maybe it's kind of like taking a more chilled out approach to the situation and seeing what the situation is and has to offer versus trying to form it the way I want it to be. Just finding out what it actually is and kind of molding myself into something that's already there the way I would like to be there. It's something that already exists. I keep getting also this version of like working with metal versus working with clay. To me, they're different. You work with them differently. I find clay, to me, clay is safer. Working with metal can be a little bit more scary, in my opinion. So it's kind of like, am I looking for an outcome that like would be more suited to metal? And it's kind of like, I really like working with metal, but this is a clay situation. So what can I do that actually balances off with both, that really fits what I want? And where I am is more of a clay situation. Even though I prefer metal, what actually can I still create with this medium that makes sense to me and actually works for me? Even though I prefer that, this is what I have. Where does that fit? What does it offer me? What does it actually create? What could I actually create that would make sense? What attracts me to the metal thing? What attracts me there that I can duplicate over here and still be satisfied with it. Does that make sense? I hope that made sense. Because I feel like they're saying you have a very strong intellect. A very strong intellect. And it's kind of like reevaluating the situation and reimagining it in a way that actually makes more sense for where you want to be, in a way that won't drain you as much. And it's not something that I feel like you're going to let go of how you used to feel very easily. I do feel like this is a process you need to go through and make peace with. It's an evolution. It's an evolution, and I feel like it is probably going to be a little bit labor intensive for a little while. But on the other side of it, you can be a lot happier than you currently are. Part of this is also trusting yourself. But the Sun card and the Knight of Swords. Trusting not only yourself, but trusting that the situation actually could be better. By giving yourself this chance to reevaluate where you are and how you're viewing it, trusting that it really does have a potential to be better and that you could be effective with that. Sometimes I feel like Aquarius gets burned out for that reason, because you work at a very high intellectual level. At least the Aquarians that I know, they seem to work at a high intellectual level, whether they realize it or not. And you want people to be up here at this level, and it's hard, because it's like you have to change how you view things, change how you relate to things, and trusting that it actually can be better, even though it won't be it won't be the optimum that you can see, but still be worth changing, still be worth evolving. All right. I'm going to shut that down there. I hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you again very much for watching, and you have a great day.